Big K Experience show now streaming on Dynamic Living Radio.
Hey everybody, it's Big K with the B again. I don't even know if I have to do introductions like that anymore, Manny. I think that's old school, huh?
Why not? Do it. It's your mantra.
I do like hearing about myself, but there's the names of my show like all over the screen. So like they're at a loss. It's like I remember when I was doing radio and they'd be like, say the time and the temperature, and I was like, they have a phone, bro. If they're in their car, there's like 2 temperatures and 2 times in your car. I'm pretty sure they're aware, Like back in the day when I was a kid, that made sense, but now, all right. Well, anyway, so we got Manny here with us. Manny, so the whole point of this show is to find people's experiences as a transition in life into whatever their career is, right? Because a lot of people want to start a career, but they have no idea how to do it. And it always seems like seeing the end, that's where you're supposed to start, right? Is that everything after the fulfillment has happened and stuff. So what I do is have people walk through what their life looked like, right? What they've done and what connections they've made and how they've grown themselves to be the person that they were when they first started, maybe with nothing in front of them, to having a career in front of them, right? Or a business or whatever. So what is it exactly that you do?
What do I do? I'm a business owner.
I like it. Business owner's a great one. So what kind of business do you own?
So we do investment banking, private equity. We help people start businesses or grow their business. We show investors projects of people who have started a business or maybe are looking to start a business. We help them create the prospectus and the pitch deck, and then present those opportunities to investors.
I didn't even know you were bilingual, bro. I didn't even know that.
Nah, bro. No. Sounds like it or what?
Words I've never heard before in my life.
That is not.
No, that's awesome. That's it, right? So you hear all these turns of phrases, dude, and I don't know what that stuff means, and that's why you got to bring someone on. It's like when I watch those people on TikTok, right? Like I see those guys, I'm like, whoa, those are the guys that know how to make money, and you're like one of those guys. Knows how to find the money to fuel a dream, basically.
Sure. Yep, that's a good way to put it. Damn, I'm going to use that, Kevin. Thank you.
Yeah, right? Tag it, dude. Tag it. Here we go. So, well, what got you into this? Did you have family members that did it? I don't know, cousins, something like that? Was it something that was like drilled into you or inspired to you as a child?
Nope, not at all. It was born out of necessity. I would write business plans and help people start their businesses kind of on the side. I had been in the mortgage, or am still doing mortgages for 26 years, and would do it on the side for people. Like I said, they would ask me, well, how'd you do this? And how'd you do that? And I would, give them some information, and then they're like, well, can you help me do it? And I'd say, sure, for a fee, throw that in there. And
yeah,
right. And then people were doing it. And then, in this last cycle of interest rates rising for the mortgage industry, I was like, I can't do this again. I need to figure something else out. And, this little voice was like, go try this. And it's like, I was scared, so, but yeah, I was born out of necessity.
That's cool. And so you're already in kind of the financial world, right, with mortgages. So you understand how a lot of that stuff works. So instead of getting money for houses, now we're getting money for businesses.
That's right.
I think it's a lot more inspirational to help. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's probably a warm, fuzzy feeling when you get a family a home. Absolutely. They get very excited about having the home. But starting a business, right? This could be the rest of your life, right? Your home doesn't even last you the rest of your life, right? It doesn't have to. I mean, you could buy one and have many others. But a company, you want that to last forever. I want to be able to sell it and watch it last forever. So that's kind of a different inspiration, I think. Why did you believe? You kind of answered this when you just answered my last question, but why did you believe this would work? Like, did you see I understand getting money works, right?
Yeah, well, I didn't. No, the answer is I didn't. Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't let you finish your question.
No, that was pretty much it. So I just stomping all over you because that's what I do. But
yeah, no, you're good. Yeah. So, did I believe that it was going to work? I don't think. I mean, I think you're foolish if you go into something and just think, I don't know if it's foolish. I mean, there's always that element of risk taking. I think that's why someone does this in general. What I do specifically is, I get the thrill of it, right? If it works or if it fails, that's even, something else that feels funky too. But, I didn't go into it expecting it to, go gangbusters. I was kind of like, okay, well, I got no, like I said, desperation, like no options. Mortgage industries, the rates are going to go up. I know that contrition's going to happen. Everything's going to, slow down. I got all these people working for me. I'm like trying to figure out how to keep everybody busy, keep myself busy, pay the bills, and I'm just tired of the up and down, and which is probably what I imagine a lot of people who are starting businesses, or, they're doing a 9 to 5 and they're trying to figure out if starting a business or taking this side thing and making that more of a full-time thing is something that, is even available or can do. I was right there too. So
Absolutely. Well, there's a lot of risk. And especially, I would say, in this career field, because like if you're a mechanic, as long as people have cars, you have a job, right? Or if, you're a waitress or a tattoo artist or whatever. But when it comes to getting money, you got to have people that really believe in themselves. And then they got to come to you and they can say, hey, make this dream a reality. And then not even on top of that, they could absolutely want it, but they got to have the ability to get it. Right. So it's like so many steps that lead into someone fulfilling what their goals are, what their dreams might look like. And how long did it take you to get to know enough to do this? Would you say? Well, what did your educational background look like?
I mean, I don't think that, to do what I do specifically, there wasn't that much of a learning curve. It's a lot of balls, a lot of, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to, and yeah, and then because college is out of the question. I'm 42 years old. It's like, I don't know. I mean, maybe, but
Yeah.
to like go and jump in and because I've never been to college. So it's like, okay. And nowadays with all these tools and softwares and, people, and you mentioned TikToks and all of this, it's like you can get the information if you're seeking it, if you're really going after it,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what I did and am doing. I mean, we talk about school and, I'm in school at the moment. It's not like I'm, and school for me looks a lot different than it would as far as, I would think as a college student where I'm showing up to class every day. I still take
Yeah.
online courses for certifications. I'm reading tons of books. I'm constantly in people's ears asking them questions, that know more than me, trying to get their information and help each other out to kind of grow our networks and all of that. So yeah, it's like you're constantly in school for this thing.
So that's kind of where the education comes in, right? Is your peers. Finding your peers, and because you didn't have like a parent or an uncle or a grandpa that did this sort of thing, so you're gonna have to look for the next best thing, and that's usually your peers, right? And that's actually the next question that we just lead into. We just keep moving right through this thing, man. And let me
That's
tell
right,
you
bro.
what,
I'm helping you out, bro.
dude. See, speaking of which, and the reason why it's so important to know that me and Manny are friends is because this little sign behind me came from your wife, actually. When you guys were
Cool.
moving, is one of the things I gaffled out of one of the storage units. When you guys said, have what you want. I was like, don't mind if I do. Got a little chalkboard set up. I drew actually these words behind me. I drew out already. They're the principles from a program we go to, right? Some of them anyways. But my girlfriend did not like the way I wrote them, so she had to rewrite all of them. So they all look 10 times
And they're
better.
pretty handwriting.
Yeah, absolutely. She takes so much pride in it too. I think sometimes she just looks at it and holds her chest. Because look at the masterpiece I created out of the disaster that he had. But all right, so we got friends, and I know that this is one of those things where if you get the right kind of friends, if you put yourself in the right kind of circle, right, things seem to get better. And so, do you think that? How did you do that with this career? Where did you find your friends?
So yeah, that's a good question. In various fields, I definitely had some friends that were doing business loans. Some other friends, I mean, in the mortgage business, doing real estate and mortgage. You get an understanding of the finance aspect of it. In 2009, I was part of a private placement raise where we raised $10 million for purpose-built medical office space surrounding Palmdale Hospital. Whatever, we successfully did that, and so some of those friends
Nice.
stuck with me over the years. Yeah, and then like watching the TikToks and watching people around, even you, for example, like you were someone on starting LLCs, and in that business, it was like, oh, okay, that's how this works. I didn't, because I had a 30,000 foot view of doing that type of stuff, but to be able to ask you those granular, very specific questions, that helped. That's part of that journey, I'll say. And then you get some contacts good or bad with attorneys. Attorneys can answer,
Yeah.
right? Attorneys
Yeah.
can answer some questions for you where you're like, oh, okay, tax law, and I'm going through this, estate planning, and just even business planning when you're going through licensing and compliance, and you have an attorney who you're asking them, okay, well, this is what I got to do with this type of business, and you start to get ideas for maybe some other project that you're working on, and so keeping those guys close at the hip, you get to reach out to them and be like, hey, what's this? I got this question. What does this look like? So.
And I think that's the difference between a business owner and an entrepreneur, right? I mean,
Mm,
because I've worked with plenty of business owners, like you said, from the career prior to what I'm doing now. I would help people with creating companies, and sometimes you have these people with like 3 or 4 different companies, but I have no idea how they should have structured it, right? No idea where they should have found their funding, no
mm-hmm.
idea how to form corporate credit. But if you ask somebody else that could be in the same exact predicament, they know all they need to know, and they're just going to stay right here, right? So, being with someone, I think that this is just my personal preference, but being with someone that you're working with that's not only helping you start a company, but knows how to learn things from the ground up, right?
Mm.
Obviously beneficial. And do you think that plays a solid role in helping other people when you're helping them form a business? You're like, well, let me tell you about these little tricks of the trade that are out there.
Yeah, I guess I'm not totally keen on or understanding the question exactly. Could you maybe rephrase it so I could understand that first?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it was the first part of that sentence is the question, is what I was
Yeah,
wondering.
that was basically it. So you learn how to start companies because you ask questions.
Mm,
Right. And now that you've asked so many questions, when you help other people start companies, you can give them questions that they should be asking, right?
mm,
Like things that they should be looking into, because
mm-hmm,
a lot of the times it's not just the trade that you're good at, or you can be
mm-hmm.
just good at the trade, but what about everything else?
Yeah, totally. And are you asking what are some of those questions,
Yes.
or?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, it's like, why? Why do you want to do it? And sometimes people say, oh, do what you love, and do. No, sometimes you got to do what's going to pay the bills. You got to just do. Right? You got to do and that's why I try to help have people start with, where is the money right now? Yeah, you want the building and you want all this kind of, you want all the equipment, you want all of this for your custom screen printing dream. But right now you're selling T-shirts through printing with Amazon. Great. Okay, so what are people buying from you? Are they buying your brand right now? Are they buying the message? Are they buying whatever? And so coming up, helping people come up with that why. That's a big part of my job is, and even for someone who wants to expand. It's like, okay, why do you want to expand? You're already making, you're clearing 5 million a year right now, 15 million a year, 20 million a year. Like, why do you want to make more money? Oh, I just want to go buy this boat. Okay, well, you got 2 sitting there. It's like, is that really what you want to do? Or do you have this foundation, something that you've, wanted to fund, and take this extra capital and put it into, and so helping people navigate down that path, down that journey, and figure all that out. That's part of the job. And then same for investors. It's like, okay, are you playing a short-term strategy, or are you playing a long-term strategy? Because that's going to affect your investing strategy. How you invest. So if you're doing something that's short-term and make a quick buck, you're probably okay with taking a little bit more of a risk. And that could be in perspective also, right? But yeah, going, and so some of those questions look like, what did you do this morning? What did you do this afternoon to help you grow whatever you're trying to accomplish? And if they tell me, oh, I went to Starbucks and and I had lunch and I did this, and okay, so none of that had to do with anything regarding your business,
Yeah.
right? It's like, okay, so let's try to shift some of the time management that you're currently doing that's going to get you to that goal, and do that over time, and then now you get to arrive at this place where it's okay, I'm filing the LLC paperwork, or whatever it is that they're doing. Or some people tell me, I don't have money to do this. Okay, I can't tell you how many business plans I funded this year that people had zero money. I'm talking 400 credit score, terrible situation, but their idea and the opportunity and everything that was going on was on point. And so it's like, okay, well, an investor will buy into that. And if you're going to do the work, then, and you're willing to put in the work, and be transparent about the money, then I don't see why that's not possible.
Absolutely. And that's huge for someone to recognize. That's lack of faith in yourself. I know there's plenty of times when I first was getting a job, I didn't want to be in sales because I wanted money, right? I wanted a paycheck. I wanted to make sure a paycheck was always coming to me. And when when anyone talks to me about sales, all I could ever think about is commission based, right? Like, so if I'm commission based, how am I going to pay my rent, right? How am I going to pay my car payment? I struggle with that even now. So when someone's starting their own company, those are some of the things you got to look at, right? And some of the reasons they get super nervous, like, I don't have the money for this. It might be a great idea, but how am I going to pull this off? Money, right? And then you come in and go, I can find the money. You just got to find the wherewithal, right? And the drive to succeed.
Straight up. It's like I said, okay, you spent half your day at Starbucks and getting lunch. Well, is that good? Is that effective time management for what your goals are? Or you're going to do a personal fitness training company, but you don't take care of your fitness. Well, how are people going to look at you? How are they going to see that? Yeah, just giving people. I mean, some of it is advice, but you do have to be an expert. It's like I got to deliver on what I'm talking about. I can't just and have other people that have done it with me already. We're referral based. We haven't done any marketing. My son's behind me right now. We're still completing the website and the social media, and we're going to be doing a launch.
Websites are the worst, are they? Are you guys designing the website yourself?
Yeah, we're doing it ourselves. I mean, pretty much everything that you'll see or you see, we do it here, because it's not, I can hire a consultant, I can do all that kind of stuff. But number one, it's like, I'm not getting that personal approach. I'm putting people to work that maybe wouldn't be able to work if I do it in-house. It gives us the experience. It also helps us when we're helping someone else to do their website and to do all the stuff. So yeah, I mean, most of the stuff we take care of on our own.
Yeah, that's tough though. I was trying to do my own website, could not wrap my brain around it, bro. It was the worst. I hired some dude from I think it was a dude anyways, from like Pakistan or something like that. The name was very not non-binary. You know what I'm saying? Like I had no idea. But yeah, right. So I don't know to this day, actually, now that we brought it up. But they built a website for me, did a very not great job. But it got like the structure down so I could have someone else come and fix it. But man, those things are tough, dude. Is that a good bonding experience with you and your son?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, sons.
You're not yelling
at
him
and my stuff. No, I mean we go through those pain points, just like anything, I think. But yeah, being able to step into and compartmentalize those roles when you need to put your boss hat on and when you need to put your dad hat on, that helps. And he's effective, right? And everybody in the house. Jumps into it. My wife, I'm like, okay, so here's the color scheme we're thinking or whatever it is. And she's like, oh, what, or even when I'll use an example. I went to lunch with some investors and, I'm having trouble, not with the investors. I'm having trouble with the guy who has the project that needs the money. And not that we're having too much trouble. I just can't feel his emotion. I'm like, okay, well, the math makes sense. I got the money. Like, let's do this. And to him, he's scared. He's like, he's a landscaper. He's like, oh, what are we doing? Right. And my wife just so happened to be at the lunch and she ends up giving me and him that like warm and fuzzy, of, oh, this is all going to work out. And then so the whole deal goes through great. Everyone's making money. Everything's fine. But it takes a village. It takes a village and yeah, I need to use all my tools. So yeah.
Yeah, right. It's a family affair. But I want to have some cameras out. Do you have a what is that? A reality TV show, right?
We do. Yeah.
The Funding Family.
We do. We got a Patreon that we're starting.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I was just kidding.
Oh no.
That's rad.
we're doing a Patreon. High Value Solution. I don't know if it's LLC, but yeah, we're starting a Patreon. That'll be part of the social media stuff that gets launched. We got webcams and all the things, and it's like a subscription based, type thing for the podcast and everything.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you give people advice and kind of walk them through things, or is it?
Yeah. Well, that too, but it's see what we're doing on a daily basis, right? Like, I work from home and the kids work from home, and anybody else. It's pretty much remote.
Crazy, bro. That's so crazy, dude. A lot of people, everybody stuck at home together. That's some family ties right there, bro.
Dude,
that is a foundation.
Sure. Hey, it's a good foundation, bro.
Yeah.
You get to teach. That's what I missed. Is getting to have my family, teach me the ins and outs of business. Right. That would have been great education. I mean,
Yeah.
and in the process, learn some values and some principles on, doing the right thing. You get the right thing. Right things happen. So
Yeah, well, like I said, I was just about to ask you what it was like uh, uh, in your home life, but it seems like the home life is probably the best part of the whole thing, right? You get to spend all kinds of
mm,
time with your son, um, get to spend time at home. You just got that new house we went and visited with a nice pool in the backyard, right?
thanks, bro.
Yeah, I can't complain about that, dude. That's a very
No.
pretty house, man. I was like, dude, if my daughter didn't have an ear infection, we would have been in that pool. Let me tell you what, dude, it was so nice.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
We got
tacos in the backyard. You can't go wrong with that.
taco. Yeah, taco lady. No, we life has gotten exponentially better
Hmm.
and different in other ways. I mean, my wife still, shows up to a place every day. We'll see how long that happens for, but yeah, the life that we have today is getting very big, and we're able to impact a lot of individuals, not just those that are surrounding me, like my kids and those friends who are close and involved in this also, but like you had said, people who, oh, I thought of starting this company or whatever this dream is of mine that I've had, and now we can actually make that work for them, and that's a beautiful thing to watch. Some people are actually living on premises at their companies, right, because of the way it's structured. And so you
Yeah.
get to see those, yeah, you get to see those families grow too, in addition to having some other business or whatever they're doing. And I don't know, yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing to be in this new era.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, it is a different type of world these days.
Hmm.
Absolutely. What do you think the biggest benefits? I know you take advantage of technology, right? What do you think the biggest benefits are of having a business nowadays prior to, let's say, when you saw people having businesses 10 years ago?
You're gonna hate me for this, bro. I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
you. I'm gonna tell you, Chat GPT.
I
I'm
knew you
gonna
were going to
tell
say
you.
that, bro. I was
I'm
just
gonna
waiting for
tell
you to
you.
say
I'm
it.
gonna tell you, Chat, bro. Like
Dude, I even
you know,
borrowed your chat to write something
yeah,
for me.
like that's what I'm saying. I mean, there's just, I don't know. I can't picture. A few months ago, I was sitting here and I'm using it and I'm doing it. I'm like, what if this thing went away right now? Like, what would I do? It's like, oh man. And so, I mean, it just does so many things for us. I mean, what? And if you haven't gotten into it yet, if you're out there and you haven't gotten into it yet, start somewhere. Don't wait until the internet's already been invented or already passed you by. This is one of those things for me, anyways. But where I started in like my journey on technologies for the entrepreneurship and the business aspect was these different softwares. One's called StreamSkill, which is to help you master just the basics like QuickBooks, Excel, Word, PowerPoint. Inexpensive. They have some free stuff out there too. Pareto Labs was another one, and that helped me to understand the basics of like financial statements, profit and losses, cash flow statements, all these things, and how the stock market and private equity sell equity of companies. I didn't understand all of that to begin with, and this helped me do that. It helped me with market sizing and pricing. And then there's a software I use called Mind Valley. Mind Valley is what I use for like meditation, quantum jumping, all these, very,
Quantum jumping, you say?
yeah,
That
very
sounds cool. I
out.
don't know what it is, but it sounds
It,
legit.
yeah, it's like it helps me now when I spend money. Um, I give it gratitude before it releases. I'm like, oh, thank you for what you served. Or if I'm going to donate clothes, it's like, thank you for, providing me with cover and,
What?
all this
That's
kind of, dude, I'm
amazing.
telling you, yeah,
Dude, let me tell
it
you.
shifts it.
So I was just talking about, so I'm reading this book. It's called The 12 Major World Religions, right? And in this book are all kinds of different religions. But I was reading over Greek mythology, right? And I thought to myself, why would Greek mythology really exist? Like, what would be the suggestion in it? And really, if you have like a god for every single thing in the world, right? It doesn't matter the first loaf of bread of the season, to the house you live in, to the family you have, whatever. There's just all these gods. The reason is because we get to be grateful for every moment of our life, right? And especially back in the Greek times, right? I mean, people were getting raped, murdered. There's diseases all over the place, dude. Your country could just be
Mm,
taken over at some point in time. Like, you don't know what's going on. But to have those little moments that you get to cherish, right, and be grateful for made a significant impact. And I bet you it allowed humanity to like thrive for a minute, right? I'm
mm.
not grateful for shit, man. Like, I need to have more gratitude in my life. Because I do get grateful, and then I get real worried real quick. You know what I'm saying? Then I get grateful, then I get real worried because I'm just a regular person. You know what I'm saying? And my life gets very hectic to me. But having gratitude, so telling my money thank you, telling the clothing store, hey, thanks, clothing store, for allowing me to not be naked today because I don't handle the sun all that well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's cool,
basics,
bro. I'd never
bro.
heard of that, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
So it all works out because of the whole Greek mythology thing. Here's something tripped out too, just on a side note. I was also reading about Egyptian mythology, right? Those are the foundations, so you got to read through those first. But in it, Horus is like the protector, and I didn't know that. I thought the Eye of Ra was the Eye of Ra, but it's the Eye of Horus. Anyways, I went out to my car, bro, and there was a metal Eye of Horus outside of my car, sitting on the ground. How weird is that? I was like, dang, this is crazy. It's tripped out. I have it in my car right now. Like, I kept it with me. Why wouldn't I?
Totally. Yeah.
Right? It fell down from
1000%.
space. It had some space burn on it, probably. I don't know. Right? But it was just there in the parking lot of my work. I know. That dude is getting tattooed on me. Let's go.
Dude.
Let's go. But yeah, recognizing that the world is definitely a part of me, right? So if I'm grateful for the world, I'm grateful for myself, right? And that's kind of because one has to do with the other. So that's how I see that. But so it makes a lot of sense to think the things around you. But I didn't expect you to come at me with that, right? This quantum.
You're
leaping.
welcome.
Yeah, thanks,
Quantum jumping,
bro.
yeah, bro.
Quantum
Yeah.
jumping. Quantum Leap,
yeah,
wasn't that a TV show from back in the day?
Oh,
Remember that?
know.
Quantum
Damn.
Leap? You don't remember that show? He like jumped into
Kind
other people's
of.
bodies. Then he'd look at himself
Yeah.
in the mirror and he'd be like a lady or a dude or
That's kind of
you know.
like what this is. You're like jumping dimensions. Yeah. You're like jumping. You're like, because you know, I believe that everything's already happened. It's all or can happen. So it's kind of like, okay, well, what do I want to picture? I picture myself this way. So I'm gonna picture myself. I'm gonna put myself there and then bring it back, you know, and be that. And I don't know.
So basically there's all these possibilities and you're just kind of mapping your way through the possibilities into the ones that you want, right?
Yep.
Because you could see them already happening because they already happened, basically. That's cool. So that's why that thinking the money and stuff, I don't understand how that correlates. Is that just coincidental?
No,
or-
that's a separate thing. This
okay.
the Mind Valley app has all kinds of stuff a part of it. You know, I highly suggest anybody, you know, invest the resources to do it, you know, because there's these like free meditation apps and all this kind of stuff, which is great. Mind Valley is like a community of it. You know, there's a bunch of people and you can talk to people and they give you applicable things where you're, you know, you're projecting your mind into your plants to heal them or, you know, metals. And I don't care how I sound. I mean, I probably sound nuts, but you know, when you actually do it and you heal a plant, you're like, huh. Okay, well, was that my mind or was that the rain? You know, it's like, oh, there was no rain. Well, then, you know, I didn't water this thing for 10 days and it still started to come back.
Yeah, right.
It's like,
dude,
something happened. So,
dude, nobody sounds crazy anymore. Like you got one of the, what is that? Neil deGrasse Tyson or whatever. I think it's deGrasse Tyson, but anyways,
did you watch Terrence Howard?
Oh yeah. Right. All
on
over
Joe
the place,
Rogan.
dude.
On Joe Rogan.
That was fun, bro. That was fun. He took me down a journey. And anybody that says he's absolutely wrong, from a guy that says that we live in a simulation, like, come on,
he invented
bro.
Meta. He invented the metaverse. He invented it. He showed the patents on the YouTube channel, on the YouTube video with
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Dude, he's amazing, bro. Like he's saying some crazy nonsense. You know what I'm saying? And nobody can really prove he's wrong, right? They have that thing where they show Saturn build itself, you know, with the hexagon on the top. Pretty cool, dude.
Yeah.
But that's why there's no such thing as a crazy anything, right? I think we have this opportunity to realize this world is a lot bigger than what these certain group of skeptics assume it to be, right? Because they tell you. But I do got to admit, Neil deGrasse does say some cool stuff, dude. I've watched a bunch of his videos. Like he has that one where he shows the moon is trying to pull the water off the planet, which is the reason there's a high tide, right? Basically. So that's pretty cool, man. That shocked me. I'll admit. But yeah, so now let's swing back to what we were talking about. I got a little sidetracked there, but
you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. So when it comes to the company, what would someone's interest be? Like, let's say they wanted to get in with, because obviously I was going to ask you, is there any crazy people that have ever come up to you with these crazy ideas of companies? You're like, that is not going to happen, bro. But I don't feel like that happens enough because people have to be serious about it before they go seek someone like you out. Right? So what questions could someone ask themselves right now over an idea that they have?
Yeah, what problem are they solving? That's a big one. You know, are you actually solving a problem?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and could you finish that question, and then that way I can.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, why would they want to start a company, and why would they come to you? Like, what do
Hmm,
you do? Because people are like, well, he's a bank, but you're not a bank, right? You
hmm.
seek them out. So, why would they come to you? What would be their interest in meeting up with you?
So, if number one, it's saving time. You're going to save time, energy, resources by coming to a guy who's doing it and has already done it. And I've done it for several other people, organizations, right? Successfully. Um, so one of them is, bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is kind of, no one want, not
Yeah.
everybody, right? Like not everybody wants to do that kind of stuff.
Hey, let me tell you
And
right now, I did bookkeeping for a group, right? You
yeah,
know this because you're a part of that group.
yeah,
Not bookkeeping, but a treasurer.
yeah.
I did so bad, bro. You think it's just adding some numbers together, but it's not. There's all kinds of
No.
added shit on there. And I messed it
Yeah.
all
So,
up, bro. Like, I looked at it, I
yeah.
was like,
So
this is terrible.
Yeah, so we call it fractional CFO services. A CFO, they're kind of the financial officer of a company or an organization, and so we'll help you with not just bookkeeping, like I said, banking, finance, projections, cash flows, all this kind of stuff. We'll take care of that part, right? So then that's out of your head. Now you're able to focus more on the business. Licensing and compliance. When you start to buy a building and you start to put in equipment and you start to do all this kind of stuff, or even just starting the company, you can get stuck in just filling out applications and getting through the paperwork and going down to the city or figuring out what permits you need and getting through just the legislature that's there. All of that kind of stuff can bog you down as a business owner and really get into the money. Like I said, that's the goal, is to get to the money, right? Um, Acquiring the money to fund the business. A lot of people think, oh, I've got plenty of money. Most of the time you're going to run out of money within, I would say, the first 18 months. If you don't have 18 months of cash set aside to fund this thing, you probably shouldn't get into it. I'm talking about of your own cash. If you're expecting to not use a guy like myself who's going to go find you money, then you're probably not sitting with enough money. And then from an investor standpoint, investors, they will get pitched deals, but they won't always get pitched the right deal. And for a guy like me, I'm vetting the deal in advance. I'm doing the due diligence. I'm, crossing my T's and dotting my I's in advance. So when I come to them with something, it's something that I would invest in. And so I'm like, hey, look, if it was my money and it's the right strategy for them, I'm like, look, this is what I would do, and they can do their own due diligence on it too, you know. And then, yeah, recruiting, that can be another one. Just even finding the right talent for the right position, because you're not going to take, well, maybe you would, but most of the time you're not going to take someone who all they've done their whole career has, let's say, been bookkeeping. They've been stuck at a computer and sitting there doing the math on stuff, and you're like, okay, I'm going to put you in front of this networking group, and put you in sales, and all your income is going to be based on what you produce and perform. Now that might not be the best idea, for that type of guy.
Yeah.
It depends, though. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, but I'm just saying, right? So finding the recruiting, doing the talent acquisition, that's something else that we offer. In addition to other things, I mean, if people go to our website, they'll see some of the other stuff that we do. But yeah, that would be, it takes out, it's like that big boogeyman. It's like, oh, what do I do? And we're there for the long haul. Most of the time when someone's come to us with a startup or some idea, we're going to stay with them even after their deal is funded or whatever that transaction is that they're trying to take care of at the moment. We're going to stay with them after the fact, and because we make sure that we have a vested interest in their success. And so we're going to say, okay, this is what you need, and then afterwards we're like, okay, this is what you should be doing. Look at it 3 months from now, this is where we're at, and just answer their questions and kind of be there as like a support person also for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what's a fun fact that I just recently found out? And by the way, you make everything sound very cool, right? And very intense,
Thank
right?
you.
So you're building a company, you got all these things ahead of you, right? You can either
Mm,
get super nervous or super excited, right? Those are the two
mm,
emotions you're going to get out of something like that. And I remember I did a group a long time ago to Behavioral Health Place where I was talking about the difference between anxiety and excitement, right? And they're the same brain chemistry. It's just the switch has to be flipped, right? So you could feel either one. And so when you hear all that stuff, you can either think, oh my God, you have to do all these things, or oh my God, I get to do all these things, right? I get to walk with someone as they show me how to do all these things, which is really where you come into play. Something I didn't recognize that people have to do is if you have a big enough building, you have to pay for the third lane on a street.
Right. Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah. Utilities, they call it like utilities. Sometimes you got to put in a bigger sewer, because you got too much stuff going on in through the pipes. And so they'll make you dig up the street and put new sewer or grade it, and you got to bring in big bulldozers, and now you got to grade out, a certain amount of dirt, because now, okay, the land or the water that was coming from this section is now hitting this other one. And so now you got to grade this big old mountain, all kinds of stuff. And it's fun. I mean, getting into that stuff, but when you're the business owner, you're like, like, what do I do? Right. Yeah. You're like,
they're all fun. I don't know if fun would be the word I'd use, Like for me, it's a blast though.
Yeah. It's like, oh, cool. Yeah. Every day is a new challenge. It depends on, it's all perspective. It's like, okay, I know I'm walking in and I got 100 emails every morning to take care of. And, probably 60 of them aren't very good, but it's like, okay, well, am I going to, right? And I'm like, okay, well, I'm like, those 60, they're all opportunities for me to learn something today. Either I learn how to interact with people on a better way, be more patient, and try not to freak out on them, or I learned something, right? Like I said, I'm in school, or I learned something I didn't know about this specific state or this specific city, or this type of industry's compliance, or however their inner working is.
Well, and that's the thing too. It's something I used to tell my clients back when I worked at that other job was, it's not up to you to learn all of this stuff, right? It's up to you to do the job, right? So we got to make that job available for you to do. And that's where the funding comes in. That's where you have people in the background doing all this kind of stuff, because I don't want to have to learn all that to start my own business.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
Plus, I wouldn't.
Well, people try to be the jack of all trades, master of none. It's like, it's like, oh, I'm dangerous enough for all of this stuff. It's like, okay, but well, how much money did you bring in last month? Well, nothing. I'm still living off of my savings. It's like, okay, so your business, all this stuff, but nothing is happening with it. You're not actually bringing in money from it. Isn't that the point of a business?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's those people that have the 4 businesses. And everything's just the way it's supposed to be, right? I don't need no help from anybody. And that usually, you fall flat, man, because the world changes, right? And if you think you can keep up with all of it, you just can't, right? And everyone should know that. I mean, I know that the world is confusing to me, for sure. For sure. What about, if you were going to talk, this is just off the cuff, but if you're going to talk about a business you've heard of that you never thought was going to make it, and I'm talking about in all of everything, right? What business would that be?
That's a really good question. A business I never thought was gonna. How about like a donut truck?
Donut truck's a good one. I like donuts though. You're kind of coming after me.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. See, even that, it's like, I mean,
what? Uber though, I never saw Uber working, and just because of the whole food delivery thing. Like, you want me to spend how much money for food? I think if it wasn't for COVID, Uber wouldn't exist. Uber Foods.
Okay, so that's kind of like a different question for me. So there's so many things at Amazon. I didn't think Amazon was going to be a real thing, because he started out as just shipping books. He was just shipping book, right? He got really good at shipping books, and he's like, well, I could ship everything else. It's like, okay. And so that kind of dovetailed into something else. There's tons of stuff. Even how people still sell books nowadays. Hardback, like books.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, I could just download it. Right. And that used to be my mentality on how I read books, was like, oh, I just downloaded it, like, audio, but,
yeah,
but for me, but for me, when I'm reading books now, I need to highlight, I need to line by line, I need to go through it, and that's physical. That requires physical.
Bro, right here, dude. I got it right here in this book. Boom. I already highlighted, dude. I get into it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, and you could try to do that. I could try to do that on, my computer screen or whatever. But I feel like I get more out of just sitting down and just kind of hanging out and reading it and highlighting and do my thing,
Well, yeah, absolutely. And because there's so many colors on a computer screen, I'll zone them out anyways. right?
And it's bad for your eyes, man. I just got back from the optometrist, and I'm like, he's like, yeah, you gotta stop staring. I got 3 screens up right now, 3 TVs. He's like, oh no, that's not good. It's like, well, what are my
He said,
options?
I know. What are we gonna do about that, dude?
Yeah, like, what are my
Get
options?
yourself some blue
Like,
blockers, bro. I hear blue blockers work.
say you're sorry. That's offensive.
Dude.
That's the whole, yeah.
You know what? Another career path I never thought would make that much money. And this is gonna sound stupid, but veterinarians, bro. Like veterinarians make an ungodly amount of money. I can't imagine. Like I come from a world where my mom would be like, cost more than $20, dog's dead.
Oh yeah.
Dude, you know what I'm saying? That's my world. And when I
sure.
found out the first time a veterinarian came up to me about a cat that I had and said, hey, it's going to cost $800 to fix it, I just looked up for my wife and went, well, this is terrible news, babe.
I can't.
Automatically, the cat's gone, right? We just spent no money on this cat, dude. This is a bad investment. I'm just losing money every day, right? And so I thought about that with veterinarians. That's another job that they just make a lot of money, dude. And you would think in a bad economy, people just don't care, right? They'll still spend too much money. I'd watch. I knew this girl that was a veterinarian that someone spent like $1,200 to fix this bump on their dog's foot. Be like, he's only gonna be around for another couple of years. He could deal with it, just let him run it off, But they didn't. They spent the $1,200 in the middle of this.
Put some icy hot on that,
dude. Exactly, bro. I'll get one of those Dremels. Dude, I'll just Dremel it now, dude. Show me the way. He'll be fine.
Oh
but yeah. Anyways, I was just thinking about companies that shouldn't exist but do. And but all right, Manny, I appreciate you coming on the show today, man, and breaking it down. And I look forward, hopefully in the future, we could have some more financial discussions as I start to meet more people. Like you said, I'm networking my way through this show, so I'm meeting people from all different forms. Like we had Drew on. Drew does life insurance, and we had him on a couple of days ago. And a lot of us are networked together, in case you're curious and you're watching the show. We all know each other. So just bringing people on to show people what the world looks like, right? I've met a lot of cool people. There's a lot of opportunity out there, but a lot of us only see the end game result. We don't realize the path it took to get there, right? Or even just putting in the effort, right? What it looks like to do it for a year or two and then coming out with an entire company on your shoulders, right? That's pretty cool. And that's something, don't get me wrong, you've had years of financial experience, but you literally formed this because you had to, and it seems to be doing pretty well, right?
We're doing all right. Yep.
Right on, Manny. Well, I appreciate you being
bro.
on the show, brother. Have yourself a wonderful day.
Thanks. All right, you too. I'll talk to you later.
Welcome to the Big K Experience Show.